Hello my friends. Hey look, I know we all love riding our e-bikes, but sometimes riding them after a while and not having rear suspension, even with a squishy seat, can be a little bit tough on the body. So what I thought I'd do is show you what it takes to install a suspension seat post. In this case, I've got the Suntour NCX seat post. We'll take a look at this bad boy and I'll show you exactly what it takes to install it. Okay, my friends, my name's Gene Arnold. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. Like I just said, you know, we all love riding our e-bikes. It's a blast. But if you're riding them on some of those back country roads with a lot of bumps and you don't have rear suspension, it can be a little bit tough on the body. I know some of them, even like this one here, they have some pretty nice squishy seats. But I don't know, maybe you might want to get something a little bit more than that. Maybe you want to get something like a suspension seat post. This is from SR Suntour. It is the NCX suspension seat post. What I'm going to do for you in this video is give you a very quick run through of the seat post. I'm going to show you how to install it, right? Show you how it works, and we'll wrap things up, okay? So hang in there and let's get to the video. As always, my friends, if content like this is interesting to you, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, maybe even click that little bell so you're always notified of new content that I put out. And if you like this particular video, do me a favor and give it a thumbs up. Okay, let's get going. Okay, let's check out this seat post. It's a pretty solid kit, right? When you mess around with the linkage, you'll find that it's not wobbly. Everything's, you know, pretty solid. I do like the quality of this seat post. The rails are nicely designed. Notice there's a little spring in there to make it easy to adjust. You'll see it better when I do the install, but just know that that's actually pretty nice to see. It also has a preload setting. So on the bottom of this, you can get different springs depending on your weight, but you can adjust the preload with that little dial on the bottom. But they do sell springs too if you need a different spring for this. In order to get started, you need to remove the current seat and seat post. You may choose to measure the current height or even put a mark there, but you're going to have to adjust that later anyway, and you'll learn more about that in just a few moments. To remove your seat from your seat post, it's going to vary. In this particular case, there's one bolt holding the rails together. You may have two bolts, one on either side. So this is going to be based on whatever your bike's like. You can see what it takes to take mine apart. Now it's time to install this seat post in your bike. Notice there is a minimum setting, right? A depth rather. You have to have the seat post in at least that far inside the frame. So make sure you go at least that far. All right, so I slid it in there and locked it in. And now what we're going to do is we're going to put the rails of your seat post in these, let's just call them rail locks, if you will, right? Okay. So I turn them both up. I actually only do one rail at a time. Again, just give it a moment. You'll see exactly how I do this, right? I don't care which one you pick, but just pick one. And you'll put the rails of the seat post, the rails of the seat in the rail locks. I put this one in right now. And I'm going to tighten it up. Not all the way, just snug. That's it. Now, since I didn't feel like moving the camera, I just turned the seat around. You could obviously just walk to the other side of the bike, but I didn't feel like moving the camera. Now notice how the seat is hinging, right? It's really nice. This seat post makes it very easy to install the seat onto it with the way these rail locks work. So now I just turn the other rail lock around. I'll tighten it up a little bit. Notice how the rails slide in these locks. And I'm just tightening it up a little bit. Now at this point, the only thing really left is to make adjustments, right? And this is going to vary based on how you want this seat to feel. Okay, so you may want the seat a little further forward, a little further back, tilted a little further down or up. That's kind of up to you, but technically you really are done. It's super easy to install this seat and seat post combination. Now I want to take a moment and talk about the height of this seat post. Remember when I said you are going to have to adjust the depth and don't worry about measuring too much? Take a look at this seat post compared to the one I had in my bike before. The suspension part, man, that gives you an extra, I don't know, 2.5 inches. I don't know what it is, but it's definitely a lot taller. So even if you did measure the seat post depth, you're going to have to go a little bit lower. which is very important because if you don't have that much more depth to go on your bike, then you might not even be able to use a suspension seat post on your bike. So that's extremely important to make sure you take note of that before you go and purchase one. Here's me giving it the old bounce test. You can see how the suspension seat post works. Okay, we're going to talk about how it moves back in just a moment, all right? But you can see it's nice and bouncy. You can adjust that preload. Remember when I told you about that earlier? Now here's what I'm talking about, how this slides back. This is also incredibly important when you look to buy one of these. Notice how I have enough room, and it doesn't hit the rack. All right, but if you don't have that space, you could maybe make some adjustments, or if you can't, then this won't work for you. Pretty important stuff. So there you have it. That's going to do it for this video. The seat post is all installed. You got to see how it worked and hopefully learned a few tips. I actually learned a few things about this as well. I didn't even think about the fact that I was going to lose a little bit of space with the actual suspension part. Guess I should have thought of that. It still worked out fine. And also the fact that it kind of moves back a little bit when it goes down. Those are all points that I really didn't even take into consideration when I first started messing around with this seat post. So hopefully now you learned about these things. So if you choose to get a suspension seat post, you can make those proper adjustments and make sure it'll work for you. Once again, my name's Gene Arnold. Certainly hope you like this video and you learned something. Give me your comments down below. I always like to read them and I answer as many as I can. And that's going to do it. Catch you next video.